I'm Phil Liggett. Welcome to Cyclism Sundays, and alongside me is Bob Roll. Bob, it is a perfect day for the big race. You rode this race 5 times.
I did Liège, Bastogne, Liège many times. I was always astounded to come into the hills from the flatlands of the west. We would come to the east and we would be confronted with these very tough climbs. All of these climbs out on the race course are legendary. This is being the oldest classic. All the riders want to do well here.
Well, that's the River Meuse, which courses through the centre of Liège, but the riders, as always, cross it and climb up the back, up the climb of Ans to the big finish there, as the riders themselves now prepare after a midweek warm-up, because they took part in the 73rd running of Flèche Wallonne, a short race, slightly less than 196 kilometres. And let's have a look now at what happened midweek Wednesday. Well, the race itself starting, as it does these days, in Charleroi, and it races to Huy in Belgium, famous for its wall of Huy, which the riders go over 3 times. Bob, the early breakaway was Christophe Moreau in the blue here being caught, and he was caught after a breakaway of 166 kilometres. Earlier in the day, he had Fumiaki Beppu with him for company. A lot of attacks on the run into the final climb of the Huy, but altogether as they started, it's a 25% climb, or 1 in 4, and the bunch about 80 strong.
A big bunch coming to the bottom of the Mur de Huy. We see that many editions of the Flèche Wallonne. A very tough climb. It kicks straight up. It rises in front of you. You do it 3 times, and of course this race a little bit different than most classics. It finishes at the top of the very tough Mur de Huy.
Well, it's 900 metres long, this climb, and the attack midway up came from the champion of Denmark here, Nicky Sorensen, and then a very serious kick from a rider on form this year, the Frenchman from Agri-Toubel, David Lelay, who has won 2 small stage races and fancied his chances. But to go so early, Bob, is absolute folly.
Very, very foolish. Yes, he went really early. He got a clear gap, though, on the best men in the world at this discipline, the climbers. But you can see those climbers there coming back to him, going a little bit too early. If he used that burst of speed at the end, he would have had a chance to win.
And that's all because this hill is so steep. You come around that bottom corner, you look up, and the wall hits you in the face. That's why the crowd come here. The riders have been up this climb already twice today. Now on the front of the group, Cadel Evans, who best placed Australian ever last year when he finished 2nd. Lelay, his legs beginning to lock up as he got midway up the climb. And again, another man making a serious error here, Cadel Evans. There's the wall. That's the steepest part of the climb.
Cadel Evans going pretty early in the red jersey, right at the front of the group. You can see Koenigo in pink, and then the black and white stripe there. That is Andy Schleck, the younger brother of Tour de France star Frank Schleck.
So he's in 2nd place there. 3rd place at David Rebellin, watching and waiting to make his final stab at the finishing line. Cadel Evans had been forced to lead virtually from midway, and he was now losing everything. Lelay has dropped out of it now, passed by Cadel, but Cadel's legs as he comes up towards the line are also locking up, and going onto the shoulder of the rider in black is David Rebellin in the blue, and he's rubbing shoulders with Andy Schleck now. Remember, his brother Frank out with injury after his crash in the Amstel Gold a few days earlier.
Rebellin's won this race twice before. Of anybody in the field, he knows how to get it done. This is only about 100 meters left to go in the race, maybe 200 meters, and he makes his kick now. Andy Schleck trying to respond, but look at the face on Schleck. He can't quite match the speed of David Rebellin.
In the background, Damiano Koenigo, who was 3rd last year, but the acceleration by one of the oldest men in the race, David Rebellin, was just too strong for anybody. The winner of 2004 and 2007 gets his hat-trick in 2009. And David Rebellin, pointing at his head there, said, "I won this race by using my intelligence." What he meant was he kept his effort until the last possible moment. And that was a tremendous piece of riding. He in fact joins Moreno Argentine, Eddie Merckx and Marcel Kint as the only riders ever to have won this race 3 times. Maybe next year he'll become the oldest winner and make it 4. There he is, pointing his finger at his head. David Rebellin was not marked by anyone, and he waited till the last minute. What a great ride.
Great ride by Rebellin, veteran of this race. Damiano Koenigo, another good ride. He got in 3rd. Andy Schleck hanging on the other end of the spectrum, a very young professional in 2nd place.
So Rebellin saved the best till the last. It was a big bunch that started at the bottom of the climb, and this man showed his old legs are still fitter than most. There's the result. 4 hours 42 minutes. He wins by 2 seconds in the end over Andy Schleck. Damiano Koenigo, Samuel Sanchez, the Olympic champion, 4th, and Cadel Evans in 5th. Well, that was 5 days ago, and the ride is now facing up to another tour of the Ardennes and all of the major climbs. 11, in fact, on the 261 kilometers of Liège-Bastogne-Liège.
It's a grisly race course that the riders will face today. It looks like the teeth of a chainsaw, especially towards the end. Very tough climbs throughout the finale of Liège-Bastogne-Liège. This is what makes it such a tough race, especially the Côte de la Redoute towards the end of the race. After 230 Ks of climbing, you go straight up into the stratosphere.
Well, all of the riders, big riders, want to win this as they now prepare for the stage racing season ahead. But I think the outstanding favourite has got to be Alejandro Valverde. He was 29 years old yesterday. He's had 3 wins this year already, but more importantly, he's won this race twice. He faded on the Puy in Flèche Wallonne, but I think the longer distance, Bob, will suit him now, and I know he's hungry.
Damiano Cunego lines up with the hopes of Italy on his shoulders. He's won very similar classics in the past, especially the Giro di Lombardia, but he wants to prove himself here in this, the oldest of all the classics, Liège-Bastogne-Liège.
Yes, the little prince, as they call him. But what about Cadel Evans? No Australian has ever won Liège-Bastogne-Liège. Cadel Evans comes close, but doesn't quite finish things off. Phil Anderson was the highest-placed Australian in this race when he finished second back in 1984. And Cadel Evans seems, as he moves along, to be wiping out Phil's record. Other riders, well, David Rebellin going for the double again. He's the last rider to do both the Flèche and the Liège, which he did back in 2004.
Columbia High Road and Garmin, the 2 American teams in Liège-Bastogne-Liège this year, bring powerful lineups. Columbia led by Thomas Lofqvist. Of course, he's got Kim Kirken also on his squad. Ryder Hagedal leading the Garmin squad, and Tom Danielson. He's also going to try to do something here today in Liège-Bastogne-Liège.
All right, well, those are the guys we should see in action. This has happened already. The usual crashes, I have to say. On the Côte d'Ivoire, around 55 miles out from the finish, Dirk Bellemacher of Landbouw-Keddy, Jean-Paul Schuler down here. They're okay. And also an unknown Euskaltel Euskadi rider. He appeared to clip the car parked in the driveway there. Then at 50 miles to go, the champion of France, Vaugondi, he also had a bit of a tumble with Francis de Greff. Both rejoined the field. Now let's go to the action. So as we look down now on the town of Remerchon, it means that the La Redoute climb, the real big challenge of the day, I think, Bob, is literally around the corner. Those 4 riders have hung on to reach the climb first, but surely now they're going to be caught here. 33
seconds down behind the peloton, and it's been very aggressive racing for the last 10 kilometers. A lot of attacks. There's a group of 3 in between the peloton and the 4 men in the breakaway. But now La Redoute, the toughest obstacle in Liège-Bastogne-Liège, is about to start, and the attacks will come.
Well, a little bit of this is the La Redoute climb, a little bit of artistry there by the tractors. I could see they were advertising milk, but I couldn't work out what the top word was. There is information on the climb, an average gradient of 8.4%, but it really has some steep sections in it. And it's going to all come together on this climb. It's got to now, as these 4 riders who broke away around 60 kilometres in, with some 200 kilometres to go, have now reached within 35 kilometres of the finish. But look over the shoulder.
Astana rider going up the road, as it were, off the front, attacking on La Redoute. That is a magical moment in a bike racer's career when the whole world is watching this race and is on this climb, it seems like, to be able to put it into attack on into the peloton there. So Astana on the move now.
Yes, I think it was Maxime Glinsky who was trying to get away there for Astana. We're right up with the leader of the race now, Cyril Gauthier. Another new professional as well, trying to get clear here. He's the European under-23 road race champion. That probably got him his ticket as a professional this year. But really, they're all coming together. 14 seconds is the spread now. It's still quite a big peloton, although it's been breaking on the climbs and coming back together. And we've seen all of the big names wanting to be up there. Valverde, Evans, even Ivan Basso, who only yesterday won the Tour of Trentino and managed to get here in time for the start today.
Nico Siemens getting caught there, just coming back into the group of the 3 chasers. It's like a skilled Shimano rider on the front there. Astana man back in the fold as well. And that second group just barely in front of the peloton now.
Face hit of Nico Siemens, the Cofidis rider. He's a Belgian rider on the French team there, although it's a northern French team. This is Gauthier, still tapping out the rhythm. He's on his own now, and he's been out in front since the 60th kilometre. 35 left. I have to say, Bob, on this climb, it's doing damage to the breakaway, but then they've been out so long, that's why. But the peloton are still holding together.
Pretty large group still. You can see some riders starting to come off the back there, but it's still a very big group. Gauthier just barely hanging on in the front of Gerdemont and Sorensen. And it looks like that was Dries Devenens also in the breakaway, getting dropped a little bit. He was in the chase group with these two men, but he'll be back in the peloton in a moment.
I'm very surprised that Gerdemans has got to the top still up there, because he looked awful just the previous climb ago. 11 seconds is now at the spread here, as Lambau Credit as well continue to set the pace here. Or hang on is probably a better phrase right now. Well, the crowd has come out in quite good numbers here on what is a beautiful late spring day down in the Flemish Ardennes.
Skill Shimano attacking. Saxo Bank has been very aggressive throughout the race, and they want to get some big results from Andy Schleck, perhaps, who was so good in Wednesday's race of the Flèche Wallonne, finishing second to David Rebellin. Now the real aggression is starting. Gauthier just about to get swept up. And there's Andy Schleck now. You can just see on the right-hand side of your screen, next to the crowd there, Skill Shimano rider leading, but Saxo Bank still pretty well in control. And I think I see Valverde coming to the front also.
Well, as we complete the climb here of La Redoute, we've seen the break brought in more or less to heel as the peloton all come together again. There's the catch of Gauthier. They're just about hanging in here, but on the descent, they're going to all be together. We'll take a break.
If finding your way to the right life insurance feels impossible, MetLife can help. Our online life insurance selector helps you quickly decide how much and what kind you need to help you create your personal safety net. Only at the new MetLife.com.
Say a big hello to the Pan-Normous from Pizza Hut. Just $10 gets you our biggest pan pizza ever.
We are never gonna finish this.
That's right. Just $10 for a one-topping Pan-Normous. Pizza Hut. Now you're eating.
What's this documentary? Man, right here, this is my business. Buying, selling, whatever, you know. Slow. Business is off, man. Sales are down. Seems like half my customers, they don't even need me anymore, you know? I mean, they're getting high for free out of the medicine cabinets. How am I supposed to compete with that? Got kids? Well, next time something goes south with your kids, don't look at me, man. Ain't my problem. I didn't do it.
Teens don't need a drug dealer to get high.
Wish I did.
Safeguard your prescriptions. Safeguard your teens.
It's about time someone made it easy to spot the good guys. When you use a business with a new Super Guarantee at superpages.com or in the Verizon Yellow Pages, you'll get the job done right, or we'll make it right. It's designed to save you time. Look for it in the Verizon Yellow Pages and at superpages.com. The Super Guarantee from ID Art Media. It's about time. Yours.
Welcome back to Liège, Bastogne Liège. We're actually on the Côte de Sprimont here, and this small group got away while we were on the commercial break there. It contains Jose Serpa, Alexander Kolobnev, Carsten Kroon. Amazingly, Hubert Dupont managing to latch on. He was in the original breakaway. Roman Kreuziger, we think Igor Martinez, and Robert Gessink, the lanky rider on Rabobank, has just hooked up at the back.
Well, 230 Ks done, 30 Ks to go. And this is where the real climbing starts, the very tough climbs. And you imagine all the miles in the legs at this point make these climbs so brutally painful. Robert Casing coming across from the peloton we just saw to this breakaway, and he makes for a very formidable group here. Two men from Saxo Bank. Saxo Bank has been very aggressive throughout the day. They're hoping to come up with the goods by Andy Schleck, and they haven't had a lot to crow about so far this spring.
Well, it's a very narrow climb away from the town of Sprimont. There's still nothing in it, and frankly, Bob, some of the big hitters are now going to have to start driving because we're getting to the crucial kilometers.
There is on fourth wheel there in the yellow helmet and the black jersey. That is the defending champion, Alejandro Valverde, moving into position now in case some attacks go from our big favorites. The group is a lot smaller than it was at the start of the La Redoute climb, but still it's a pretty big group.
Well, there's a bit of trouble here. That's Karsten Kroon trying to pedal off the front here of this lead group and guessing, because only just come off. The tall rider on the right is wanting to get a few deep breaths, I think, because he hasn't recovered from the chase. But there's nothing in it yet again. This looks like it might be Jurgen van der Broek having a go, or is it?
Might be Philippe
It's
Gilbert.
Philippe Gilbert. In fact, you're absolutely right. Gilbert, a man who lives in this region. Remember, he's a French-speaking Belgian. He's a Walloon, and he's riding on home soil.
And in the pink jersey, that might be none other than Domenico Cunego trying to come across to Philippe Gilbert. Philippe Gilbert had some very critical words to say about his team captain Cadel Evans after the Flèche Wallonne race. So he's coming out. He promised he'd be aggressive in today's stage, and now he feels the danger, and it's a big group of 7, and he's just come back across to them and is going right straight past. Wow, that's great riding by Gilbert.
That was how Bob Roll used to ride Liège, Bastogne Liège, straight past the break.
Only when they weren't racing, though.
That was terrific riding by Philippe Gilbert, and he's always performed well at this time of the year in these events. It's his favourite discipline, but he's had a poor start to the year, not like he had last year when he won 7 races. But Gilbert now is being drawn to the finish. He's inspired. He can't possibly believe he's going to go alone, but he could do with a bit of help from some big names, I reckon.
Philippe Gilbert doing a ride in Het Volk last year to start off the season, reminiscent of the great Belgian Eddy Merckx, where he took off about 70 kilometers from the finish. The peloton chased him all the way to the line, but they could never catch him. So when Philippe Gilbert has his day, he's almost unstoppable.
And although he feels that this race does suit him, he's never had a great performance in Liège-Bastogne Liège. He was very annoyed with Cadel Evans, who he felt wasted his chance in midweek at the Flèche Wallonne. And so now it looks as though Gilbert might be the team leader today, and he's playing his card. He's certainly shaken out the breakaway, who couldn't do much about that. This boy's got the style of Schleck, but it's Karsten Kroon working away at the front.
Breakaway was going at 1 speed. Philippe Gilbert was going about 5 kilometers an hour faster, so it's a bit of a shock to the system, to the riders in the break, and they haven't been able to recuperate yet and get across to Philippe Gilbert, and that's a very impressive acceleration. To think that Karsten Kroon and Roman Kreuziger and Robert Gesing could be distanced that quickly by one man is pretty impressive.
But you see, there's the peloton just behind this, what was the original breakaway, Bob. We're getting another example here of a spring classic this year where everybody is in contention. And I think that with a 30-second spread, this race is still not giving us any indication as who's going to win when we get back to Liège. We'll take a break.
This is your weekend? You serious?
Why are you in my yard?
Don't you want to get out there? I got hotels everywhere. Hit the road. You can go rafting, bird watching, wine tasting.
Okay.
Oh, roller derby.
Sure.
Man, there's all sorts of super destinations. You just gotta go. I'll feed you free breakfast.
Head to Petty'sGarage.com to play a few games and win some super prizes.
ビッグパピじゃない？レッドソックスの。
撮ってもらっていいですか？ちょっと待って、デビッド・オーティス？ちょっとみんなビッグパピやろ？ビッグパピ。You know Big Papi.
It's that authentic. New era, official on-field cap of Major League Baseball.
If you want to learn how to fight, Gracie Combatives is for you. And now, for the first time ever available on TV, you too can get street ready with the Gracie Combatives DVD collection.
Gracie Combatives, it's the best of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
Discover the secrets the most dominant fighters in the world already know. And now, in this once-in-a-lifetime TV offer, you can get the first 6 lessons absolutely free. That's 2 DVDs packed with over 3 hours of Gracie family fighting secrets. A $60 value, all for free.
Even though I'm a 230-pound police officer, I would not walk the streets without Gracie Combatives.
Best of all, you can preview 3 more lessons automatically each month. No minimum to buy. Cancel anytime. Learn to defeat an opponent of any size quickly and easily.
Bottom line is Gracie Combatives can save your life.
You may never have to use it, but won't you feel better knowing you could?
Sometimes you don't pick the fight picks you. Learn Gracie Combatives. Be ready.
Call now and we'll also send you the Combatives Handbook and Fight Chart. That's 2 DVDs, the Handbook and the Fight Chart. A $75 value, all free.
And the epic cycle continues on Versus. Next Sunday at 5 Eastern, the world's best cyclists take on the Tour de Romandie. We'll recap the first 5 stages, then have full coverage of the final stage into Geneva. From time trials to epic mountaintop finishes, Romandie is a good judge of who's on track for the Tour de France. As the Tour de Romandie, note we're back to our regular time at 5 Eastern here on Versus. Well, the stage racing to come, but it's Philippe Gilbert going to, and we've got a crash here as we go back to the group here. This looks as though it's Jose Serpa. Well, he's made that corner and he's fallen off. He was in that chase group, Bob.
Here is Philippe Gilbert just on the slopes of the Falcons Rock. You can see a replay. Just lost the tire there, high-siding across the corner. Got that completely wrong. Didn't seem to be any obstacles, but that's just what happens if you stop paying attention for one moment.
Well, that was very sad indeed. It looked like it might be dust or something slippery on the corner, but he completely made a mess of that and nobody else involved. Well, what we have at the moment is Gilbert is out in front. The peloton is slowly easing back at 45 seconds. And this group, which Gilbert just went by as if they didn't exist, has strengthened a little bit, but they're not gaining.
Average gradient there, the moyenne, 9.9%, so a very tough climb. Very steep, not that long, just over a kilometer long, but Philippe Gilbert really on fire at the moment. He has been able to put 45 seconds into a peloton by himself, and they are chasing pretty seriously flat out. 1K to the top of this little climb, and it's a very tough hill, and it comes after many 240 kilometers actually, so
that's
very
right.
tough part of the race.
There's only one real noted hill still to come now, so this is the 10th climb that's noted of the day here was Gilbert, and this is where the riders were saying at the start they would attack here. This is Andy Schleck, got himself to the front now, Saxo Bank. He's had a lot of teammates work very hard as they go past Hubert Dupont, who was in that group. This is Leonardo Duque, all of these riders just in front, being picked off one by one. Igor Martinez has gone back, Tirolongo, and he's now in amongst the leaders. There's Guessing as well, and he's just looking at them. He's doing a Philippe Gilbert.
He's gone right straight past the men that were in the breakaway. Kolobnev, his teammate, looked to see if he could help them and decided he couldn't match that acceleration. But Andy Schleck now lighting up this race. The other favorites have to follow this acceleration.
Time to remember what Schleck said this morning. I'd like to go one better than Flèche Wallonne. Well, one better means you have to win Liège, Bastogne, Liège. And now he's made his move. Well, that would be a formidable tandem if Schleck gets up here with Gilbert.
Very good point. If Gilbert and Schleck get together and start drilling it to the finish line, it's going to be very tough for the peloton that's already starting to splinter to chase these two men down. Let's see if Andy Schleck can close that gap down, but it's still hovering at right around 40 seconds. Schleck, this is his move to win this race.
Well, they brought this climb in for the first time last year. The Falcons Rock climb is what it literally means. And Gilbert said it's as tough as La Redoute. And because of its strategic placing, only 20 kilometers or 12 miles from the finish, it is the place to go if you're strong.
If you're strong, if you have the legs like Andy Schleck does, and he has obviously put some daylight into the peloton with a very huge acceleration. Gilbert is hanging tough there, though, at the front of the race. This is a very impressive ride by the man in red and black, Philippe Gilbert.
Well, there's no doubt that Gilbert now, who is 26 years of age, is in the prime of his racing career here, and he has great legs. No big results yet this year, hampered a little bit, I think, because he's joined Cadel Evans. 28 seconds now to him in our picture now, Andy Schleck, and further back 43 to what's left of the peloton, and it's a lot smaller than it was half an hour ago.
Very tough chase here now by Andy Schleck by himself. The peloton all together now, so just one man chasing, 20 kilometers to go, a little bit less, and this is this man, Andy Schleck. We saw him in the Tour de France reveal himself to be one of the big stars of the sport. Just over his shoulder now, the other favorites in this race will start to close the gap. They'll know the danger of Andy Schleck going up the road, and Philippe Gilbert, though, is hanging very tough on this climb. That's an amazing ride by Gilbert.
He's just tapping out that rhythm. He's a good rider. You said earlier to me, Bob, he's a great rider on his day, and if this is his day, they'll have a job to pin him back.
Absolutely. Here's the remnants of the breakaway. Still a lot of Saxo Bank riders in the front. They will not chase at all. They have their man Andy Schleck just in front of this group, and he is chasing Philippe Gilbert.
The long thin legs here of Andy Schleck. His brother riding today, Frank. We've seen evidence of him, the champion of Luxembourg, near the front after that bad crash he had exactly a week ago when he collided with Matthew Lloyd in the Amstel Gold Race. Now we come to the top of what is the penultimate climb of the race today. Philippe Gilbert, the local boy, takes a look back. I don't think he will see Schleck coming yet.
About 20 seconds to Schleck, and Andy Schleck coming around that last corner, so He might be able to catch up to Gilbert on this descent. Andy Schleck, one of the best in the business, a young rider. He is such a solid pro. He's done a lot of Grand Tours. The Giro, he was the second place last year, or the year before last, excuse me, and the Tour de France making his debut. Very successful debut, the white jersey in last year's Tour.
All right, to be looking at Andy Schleck, remind ourselves he's not even 24 years of age until this June. We'll take another break, and he may well be up with Gilbert when we come back.
Hi there. Looks like you found your car insurance.
Yeah, but wow, it looks like you guys have everything.
We sure do. We help millions of people save. Look, we're #1 in motorcycle insurance, a leader in boat and RV, and...
Oh, wait, let me guess. You're the #1 truck insurer.
Wow, first guess!
Nailed it.
Oh, you're psychic. What am I thinking of right now?
Tacos?
Yes! Helping you save money no matter what you drive. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today.
I said, how'd you like the show? She said I was very amused. I started throwing bass, she started throwing back mid-range. But when I sprung the question, she acted kind of strange. I called her room, I got picked up again. I called her in, I said, yo, who is that? Oh, he's just a friend. Don't give me that. Don't even give me that. Oh, baby, you got what I need. But you say he's just a friend. But you say he's just...
Most people avoid extremes. Others can't wait to experience them. Introducing the all-new Ranger XP and Sportsman XP. The most power, the best all-wheel drive, the best suspension. Extreme performance for the most extreme terrain. They're the hardest working, smoothest riding off-road vehicles ever. See the 2009 XPs at your local Polaris dealer or visit PolarisXPEvent.com.
To master the great outdoors, the pros choose Husqvarna for exceptional power and performance, precision, and amazing control. Master your great outdoors with the same power and performance demanded by the pros. Husqvarna, professionally proven outdoor power equipment. Test drive a Husqvarna at your servicing dealer during spring demo days.
Itchy dry skin? Get the quick fix. Sunburn itch? Get the lasting fix. New Gold Bond Anti-Itch Lotion gives fast, lasting relief with 2 proven itch fighters and healing moisturizers. Got an itch? Gold Bond Anti-Itch Lotion. The quick fix for almost every itch.
Want big pants? I lost 3 times more weight.
Get new Dexatrim Max Complex 7. 7 powerful weight loss ingredients combined to block hunger and burn fat. For 80% of your weight loss. Dexatrim Complex 7.
This is weight loss.
Searching for your next car? You gotta go to VHX.com. You can find whatever car you want. 1.2 million vehicles. Over 1.2 million cars. Where else are you gonna go? You can search down to the specifics. The exact color, the exact price, the exact make, the exact model. Now that's searching. And if it's not there, they'll send you an email when it is. Dude, we got your car. Come pick it up.
Search over 1 million new and used vehicles for the car you want at VHX.com, your online resource to find your ride. Watch VHX video buying guides and test drives powered by Wheels TV on Comcast On Demand.
Welcome back to Liège, Bastogne, Liège. We are 18 kilometres from the finish. We are looking at Andy Schleck, who has just come up alongside Philippe Gilbert, who was in the lead and has gone straight by him. And there's a group forming behind with Sergei Ivanov also on the counter-attack. Now, let's remind ourselves, Bob, Ivanov has never done well in this race, and he won the Flèche Wallonne.
He won a few days ago, the big race up in Holland. That was another great classic when you can see him just behind Philippe Gilbert, who's been dropped. A very impressive Andy Schleck now alone in the front, and Sergei Ivanov, he's the Katusha rider, third wheel, but everybody's spread out so far over this race course. There's our peloton, only about 15 guys left.
A total free-for-all. As I said, Ivanov won the Flèche Wallonne. He won the Amsterdam Gold Race exactly a week ago, and he said he would like to try and win this one as well. Well, Philippe Gilbert started it all, and now the favourites are beginning to fire, because Alejandro Valverde is in this front group, who is the real favourite. We've also seen Cadel Evans there, but not recently.
Valverde on the right-hand screen there, fourth wheel was Alejandro Valverde. Joaquim Rodriguez is his teammate, was leading that group, but they're all chasing this man, Andy Schleck, who's putting in a very impressive effort here to stay up the front. A couple of his teammates are still in the group, including his brother, Frank Schleck.
Well, last year, Andy Schleck got totally confused by all of the team tactics. Towards the end, he was in the front group. He crossed the line in 4th place and was very disappointed. He's made a much earlier run. Here comes Ivanov, first to reach Philippe Gilbert from the group, but the group have closed down on him again. And so Ivanov now is going to find he's towing along about 10 or 11 riders.
Ivanov in the front, winner of Amstel Gold just a week ago, and on his wheel, it looked to be David Rebellin, who won Flèche Wallonne just a few days ago on Wednesday. He's done this before. He's made the double before, and that is Carlos Sastre from the new Cervelo team, having a very solid Liège, Bastogne, Liège. We don't see him very often in the Classic, so that's great riding by the defending Tour champion.
It's the first time we've seen anything of the Tour de France winner this year, but he's getting his form ready for the upcoming stage races, perhaps. He knows his body pretty well. Well, as we leave the chaos behind, our camera almost colliding with another motorbike. Let's get back up to the chase, being driven on by Team Katusha as they try now to and level out the field. But Andy Schleck has thrown down the gauntlet. He's not 24 years of age yet. He was 10th in the Amstel Gold race. He was 2nd in Flèche Wallonne. He says he wants to win this race.
A lot of our pre-race favorites, they're queued up right on the wheel of Alejandro Valverde. That's Cunego on his wheel. And just at the top of your screen looks like Cadel Evans. So all of the big favorites. There's Samuel Sanchez in the orange of Euskaltel Euskadi. He is one of the greatest one-day riders in the world today, Olympic defending champion.
Well, in that select group too, I've just seen Schleck's brother Frank looking very comfortable. He says he's still got a headache after that nasty crash he had a week ago, but he wanted to ride this event, and he's riding it from the front. The gap is being prized open here. 31 seconds. You can feel the pain as they put the wrench into the tin to prise that lid open, but he is going clear at 16 kilometers or 10 miles to go. We still have one official climb, and we also have what is not an official climb up to the finish.
Up to the finish line is a very long, tough drag, but look at that gap starting to go up now. Andy Schleck has got 16 kilometers between himself and absolute glory. What a ride it would be if he could stay away from that chasing group all the way to the finish line.
Well, it will be yet another example of the development of this rider from Luxembourg. I can't ever remember Luxembourg producing in the same time 2 riders, let alone 2 brothers from that small Grand Duchy. So at the moment, one of the pre-race favourites is out in front. Others are in the chase, including David Rebellin. He's there, and also there Alejandro Valverde. We'll take a break.
Okay, maybe it was my fault.
She told me to kill the weeds.
And you did, along with the grass.
I used the wrong stuff.
Oh, there were dead spots everywhere.
This is the right stuff. Ortho Weed Be Gone Max. It kills weeds down to the root. Even the tough ones like dandelion and crabgrass.
But unlike that other stuff, it won't kill the grass. Ortho guarantees it. Kill the weeds, not the lawn.
Weeds, not lawn.
Got it?
Yeah. Ortho Weed Be Gone Max.
Defend what's yours.
This is your weekend? You serious?
Why are you in my yard?
Don't you want to get out there? I got hotels everywhere. Hit the road. You can go rafting, bird watching, wine tasting.
Okay.
Oh, roller derby.
Sure.
Man, there's all sorts of super destinations. You just gotta go. I'll feed you free breakfast.
Head to Petty'sGarage.com
to play a few games and win some super prizes.
Is a journey. You can see amazing things, taste fine foods, and meet wonderful people. And if you're fortunate, you can accomplish all of this in one trip. Canada's Rocky Mountaineer, the most spectacular travel experience of your life.
Book now to receive a free additional Fairmont Hotel night and Whistler Mountaineer trip.
It's about time someone made it easy to spot the good guys. When you use a business with a new Super Guarantee at superpages.com or in the Verizon Yellow Pages, you'll get the job done right, or we'll make it right. It's designed to save you time. Look for it in the Verizon Yellow Pages and at superpages.com. The Super Guarantee from IDR Media. It's about time. Yours.
Welcome back to the route towards Liège now in the last one-day classic of the spring, and this is Andy Schleck driving on. What he may or may not know is that brother Frank has now moved to the front of a chase group of 20 and is trying to slow them down. It's having some effect. 43 seconds is now the gap.
This is a great ride, one of the best we've seen in a long time. A solo effort by this man, Andy Schleck, to hold off the chasing peloton containing the biggest stars in the sport. Valverde's in that group. Cadel Evans is in that group. Some of the riders dropped include Ivan Basso. So this is a great ride by Andy Schleck, a real show of force for the Saxo Bank team. They've been very aggressive throughout the day. There you can see the chase, and a lot of times the big leaders, unless they have some teammates this far from the finish line, will not cooperate with each other. So Andy Schleck standing a great chance to stay away till the end of Liège, Bastogne Liège, and that would be spoken of for many years to come if he could do that.
Well, we're looking on the right at 20 strong men here. The rider in black tagged onto the back is Carlos Sastre. There's another rider in black here for Cervelo, and that is the on-form Simon Gerrans. There he is in the centre of our picture on the right. And also here is Michele Scarponi. Robert Gessing is here. So I can only think of Ivan Basso of real significance who hasn't made that vital move.
Damiano Cunego up in the front.
He's there, yeah.
And David Robigin, of course, for the Seramente Digui Giovanni. It's quite a long name, but he's a great bike racer. He won Flesh Alone on Wednesday. He's in this group chasing Frank Schleck, his brother, Andy Schleck, and there's the town of Liège just at the finish line, and that cannot come too soon for Andy Schleck.
Well, this is the charge into town. We've still got the Côte de Saint-Nicolas before we get there, and being led on the way now. It looks as though we've got on the front is Carlos Sastre. I think it is on the front now. He's brought himself right up here. Well, he's thinking of Simon Gerrans, who really feels he can produce the goods. He's had two great rides so far in the classics over the last 7 days, but they're going to be really confused by this huge effort by Andy Schleck, because he's getting stronger, and I was about to say by the minute, because it's almost a minute now.
The gap going up now, close to 1 minute. That's really hard to do on a long, straight stretch of road like this, slightly downhill, to hold off this group and put time into them. They're going to have to do something very special in the last 10 kilometers to catch Andy Schleck.
Well, there's a team car there, dodges round, heading up towards Andy Schleck, because when it's a minute, he can join his man at the front. And now it's just on 1 minute here. We go round the back of the Standard Liège Football Club here in Liège, and now we're out onto the freeway just for a few moments. Then we start dodging our way over the River Meuse. A minute and one, he's just pulling away, and there's no stopping this man.
The big bosses of the peloton, the men like Rebellin, the men like none other, of course, then the Schleck brothers controlling this race. However, you can see the riders now in the peloton fanned out across the road, and that gap will continue to increase. Cadel Evans, one teammate left. He's going to need to do some tempo there. Kolobnev, he won't do anything to cooperate in the chase, and Andy Schleck is continuing to increase his lead.
Well, Schleck has showed the skill of the man that we always knew he was going to be when he was a youngster in the Giro d'Italia in 2007. He finished second and won the white jersey, and that was a huge result. Brother Frank was even stunned by that. He's the elder of the two, and now Frank, despite his headache, is doing his best back there to try and slow down the chase. 63 seconds. He is pulling away at the most crucial stage of the race, when these boys on the right should really be closing in on him. It's not looking good for the chasers.
The chasers having a hard time getting organized. No team's willing to sacrifice enough to close the gap down. It's pretty discouraging when you have riders of the caliber of Frank Schleck and you put your men on the front. If you do the work, Frank Schleck is just sitting on there resting himself for the finish line. So you're in a lose-lose situation. If you chase Andy Schleck, Frank Schleck will be ready to attack.
Well, 4 years ago, Andy Schleck was the national time trial champion of his country, Luxembourg. And now he's going to have to do the time trial of his life. We'll take a break.
Here's Ryan getting ready to make his approach. To the men's room.
Looks like he needs to go urgently.
True. And there's Casey about to drive, also to the men's room.
He has been going over and over.
Now Wilson, third time today, says he's going a lot at night, too.
Yes, I'm afraid he thinks it's par for the course.
They ought to see their doctors.
Could be male urinary symptoms due to BPH and enlarged prostate.
For many guys, prescription Flomax reduces their urinary symptoms due to BPH in 1 week.
1 week?
Only your doctor can tell if you have BPH, not a more serious condition like prostate cancer.
Avoid driving or hazardous
is tasked for 12 hours after your first dose or increase in dose, as a sudden drop in blood pressure may occur, rarely resulting in fainting.
If considering cataract surgery, tell your eye surgeon you've taken Flomax. Common side effects are runny nose, dizziness, and decrease in semen.
Ask your doctor if Flomax is right for you.
And call 877-4FLOMAX to see if you qualify for up to $40 off new or refill prescriptions.
For many men, Flomax can make a difference in 1 week.
What gets you out running, walking, or doing what you really love to do? You have your own motivations for being out there. Enjoy every second. The Boulder Running Company has what you need to make your experience even better. From free video gait analysis, to a huge casual shoe selection, to apparel and accessories. The Boulder Running Company. Boulder, Denver, Colorado Springs, and online at boulderrunningcompany.com.
Every year, Bike MS goes farther and pushes harder to raise money that will move us closer to a cure for multiple sclerosis. And that's where you come in. An unforgettable ride, an unbeatable destination. Bike to create a world free of MS. Join the movement.
Every year, Bike MS Colorado helps to raise money that will move us closer to a cure for multiple sclerosis. Join Great West Life, Sam's Club, and Comcast, and log on to bikemscolorado.org to find out how you can bike to create a world free of MS.
30 now in the front with just a couple of undulations before the finish line.
Well, let's not forget, Bob, that this race, the oldest of the one-day classics, 1892 was the first time this event was held. Only one rider from Luxembourg has ever won. I won't expect you to remember him, Bob. Marcel Ernzer, back in 1954. 45 years ago, the only Luxembourger to win this, and now it could be Andy Schleck next on the palmarès.
A little bit of a climb here before another section of flat roads before the kick up to the line. And there's the Cervelo riders. That might be Simon Gerrans or perhaps even Carlos Sastre attacking from the chase group.
My guess would be Gerrans, Bob, but we'll see as we close in on him. It doesn't look like him, I must say, as we get down there. But that long line of riders seems to have strengthened in size because these boys have lost an enormous amount of time and they're supposed to be chasing.
This is the chase group here, and maybe the big leaders, the guys like Alejandro Valverde, realized they couldn't catch Schleck. They took the gas off a little bit in the chase group, allowing some of their teammates to come to the front, and hopefully they'll be able to close a little bit of that gap. But now it's at 1 minute and 30 seconds, and when the riders are chasing flat out, to be able to put time into them is a very impressive ride by Andy Schleck.
Well, the wrong flag there. That's the Basque flag from Spain, not the flag from Luxembourg, a red, white and blue. The Côte de Saint-Nicolas, 7 kilometers to go. Andy Schleck is just concentrating on tapping out that rhythm now because he knows he's pulling away, but we've got a slight reversal. 1 minute 26. How long does he need to be in the lead by, Bob, for that last climb up to the line, do you reckon?
I reckon about 30 seconds will do it for Andy Schleck, but here come the attacks now. That might be Damiano Cunego trying to get across, and they'll close that gap down very quickly. Kolobnev is the teammate of Andy Schleck, our lone leader. He's trying to get back on the terms of the Lamprey rider in pink so that he can shut down this chase. Cadel Evans there now starting to come forward also.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's Gasparotto who's trying to get across there for Lamprey. At 6 kilometers to go under the railway track. We're dodging down the back streets of Liège here now as we head towards Arns, which is where this classic finishes. The field are going absolutely nowhere. Gasparotto drops back. His teammate Cunego is there as the tempo is kept on here at the front.
That is Rebellin on the front. Cadel Evans trying to match that acceleration, having a bit of a hard time. Frank Schleck is in the red, white, and blue jersey of the champion of Luxembourg, and here is the damage at the back of the field.
Yes, some big damage it is as well there, as the Team High Road are in more than a spot of bother right now.
Gap still hovering over 1 minute, so they close it down about 10 seconds, but now Andy Schleck is maintaining and even gaining a little bit of time, and this race is going to go right down to the wire.
I think that was Cadel Evans. Our cameras we have no control over, but back to the race, and it is Cadel Evans who's made a move. The Team Columbia boy was Lockvist, who was expected to try and win this race today. He slid off the back, while Cadel Evans has made a move very reminiscent of his dash for the line on Wednesday in Flèche Wallonne, but he's a long way from the finish yet, and he's pulled Frank Schleck, the rider on the right in the red top jersey there, just sitting on his back wheel while brother Andy gets on with the job.
Still maintaining a pretty solid advantage there, just over 1 minute and 20 seconds. Rebellin there, the leader of this little chase group. Frank Schleck sitting on his wheel, very vigilant. This is a vicious acceleration by David Rebellin. He realizes the danger. He needs to get a lot closer to Andy Schleck before the last climb to the finish line to have a chance to win this race. No more teammates left for the big stars. They have to do the chasing themselves.
The fearsome acceleration of one of the oldest men in the race, if not the oldest man here, 37 years of age. If he were to win today, with the oldest ever winner of this event, as Rebellin now stamps on those pedals. Frank Schleck. Well, a year ago, Frank was up in the front group, but now he's defending valiantly for his brother. He won't come round him. You can see the speed of Andy as he hits a small piece of pave or cobblestones there, dodging round the back. Well, that's over the top of the cope, but there's still the climb up to the finish, and he knows it. We are 5 kilometers to go. The gap is coming down. This race is not over yet, and we don't need to tell Andy Schleck that. We'll see you in a moment.
For years, man has known about the advantage of twin blades.
Smooth.
Now there's the twin blade advantage from Honda. Twin blades mean finer clippings when mulching to feed your lawn. They also mean more bagging capacity and less emptying. And of course, Honda means it's built to last. The twin blade advantage, exclusively on Honda mowers.
Most people avoid extremes. Others can't wait to experience them. Introducing the all-new Ranger XP and Sportsman XP. The most power, the best all-wheel drive, the best suspension. Extreme performance for the most extreme terrain. They're the hardest working, smoothest riding off-road vehicles ever. See the 2009 XPs at your local Polaris dealer or visit PolarisXPEvent.com.
Welcome back. We are 3 kilometers from the finish in Liège, Bastogne, Liège. Andy Schleck is 1 minute 11 seconds ahead, and Samuel Sanchez has just attacked a very select little group containing Valverde and Cadel Evans.
And David Rebellin also in that, following through on the acceleration of the second to last climb. There is a very tough climb to the finish. Joaquim Rodriguez is there for the K de Parnia squad, and that is in pink and blue. Damiano Cunego, all of them trying to chase down Andy Schleck, and that was a huge attack by the man in orange, Samuel Sanchez.
Well, I have to say, but what an incredible chase group this is. All of these riders at the top of their professional careers. The Olympic champion, Samuel Sanchez, Valverde, the winner of this race last year, Cadel Evans, who is always up for a classic, Frank Schleck, who was third in this last year. He won't be chasing. There he is, far right of our right-hand picture, looking at everybody, particularly Rodriguez, who's up here as well.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you chase Andy Schleck, then Frank Schleck is going to attack. If you don't chase him, he is gone to the finish line. What an incredible win. That would be a real maneuver of panache for Andy Schleck. He is on the left-hand side of your screen and putting it all onto the pedals, 2 kilometers from the finish line. I have a feeling they will not see him again until he's standing on the top step of the podium.
It looks that way. I have to say it's almost a case of deja vu from a year ago when Valverde got the verdict and the Schleck brothers had to be content with 3rd and 4th place. They were in the front group on that occasion. Now there's only one man in that front group. It is Andy Schleck, while Valverde is being guarded by brother Frank. There's the little prince, Cunego, third wheel. He's going through. He's following Rebellin, who's had to work a lot harder today than he did in the Flèche Wallonne. There is Schleck too. It's Rodriguez peeping in to our right. I don't see Valverde at the moment.
Don't see Valverde in the fruit group. It's his teammate. I think that is Joaquim Rodriguez right on the wheel of Frank Schleck chasing this man, and the gap going up. The big stars marking each other, not cooperating at all to chase down this man. He's only just under 2 kilometers to the finish line, so I don't think they're going to see him today.
We're at 2 kilometers. This is the psychological kilometer now to the red kite, and if they don't close that gap significantly, they know they won't in the last kilometer, and Andy Schleck knows the same. There we go. Thumbs up from brother Frank. I've got my younger brother home, and it'll be champagne tonight. There's still a grimace on Andy's face, but I'll tell you, Bob, this is a breakaway to be proud of. The way he rode away on the climb.
Unbelievable attack on the third to last climb. He vanquished Philippe Gilbert in a matter of moments, went straight past him. Gilbert tried to stay on the wheel. There's an attack by Rebellin as Andy Schleck goes under the 1 kilometer to go banner. The red kite now, just 1K between Andy Schleck. An incredible result here in Liège, Bastogne, Liège.
What a difference a week makes. The figure of Andy Schleck, hearing that his brother Frank was lying on the ground and was looking seriously injured, and now a week on, here he is winning the race, and that seriously injured brother is stopping the chase getting up to him. Cadel Evans, Samuel Sanchez, these are the riders. They've split up again here. This is Rodriguez behind, the teammate of Alejandro Valverde, just to climb up towards the finish now. A little move by Cadel to catch the few in front.
3 in front now. That's Rebellin leading this big climb, and a little bit of confusion here amongst our big stars as to who's going to do the work, and Frank Schleck sitting in a perfect position there to have a 1-2 for Saxo Bank and the Schleck brothers. Andy Schleck now just a few hundred meters from the finish line.
Well, Rodriguez himself was 8th in this race last year. Looks like he's going to have a similar finish, or even better this time around, as we watch the baby face of Andy Schleck from the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg, a landlocked European country that has produced the great riders like Charlie Gall, are now producing the first winner of Liège-Bastogne from Luxembourg since Marcel Ernzer back in 1954. There'll be headlines tomorrow in the Grand Duchy.
This is a great ride by Andy Schleck, and it maybe a little bit of a prophecy for what might be in store for the peloton in the Tour de France later on in the summer. He was able to control the tempo, leave the peloton, the best riders in the world chasing him flat out. When Andy Schleck goes, you know you have to chase. He's a big star with tremendous panache, and he's streaking to the finish line.
There goes Rodriguez, Joaquim Rodriguez at the kilometer mark. 8th last year. Did I say he might get better? He could get 2nd now if he doesn't get a quick reaction from the field. He just grits his teeth and stamps on those pedals. He's a pure climber who does all of the work normally for Valverde. Now he's got his own chance to fly here. Take your time, Andy, it's yours, because there's too big a gap to Rodriguez. He's making the corner now. He will see the flag here, and he's going to salute and enjoy this moment all the way along the straight. That looks to me like one of the biggest crowds here as well. Huge moments. He said at the start, I want to go one better on Flèche Wallonne, and he has done it. The first man from Luxembourg to win since 1954, and Andy Schleck will be the first man to congratulate his brother Frank as well.
Great ride by Frank Schleck and Andy Schleck. Andy Schleck, also the Saxo Bank team. Throughout the day, they set the tempo. Here is Rodriguez trying to get 2nd place. Saxo Bank has not won any big races for quite a while this spring, and you know that they came into this race with a lot of aggression and a lot of hunger, and Andy Schleck delivering the goods for the Saxo Bank squad.
Now, the 29-year-old Joaquim Rodriguez there deserves the 2nd place if it comes. There's been a whole concertina job down here as the clock continues to count, because they're racing only for 3rd place now as the field generally regroups. Rodriguez made the best move. He only got 1 win last year, the 3rd stage of the Tirreno Adriatico in March. Well, it's been a long time coming, but this will be a huge result for him. 2nd place in Liège, by far his best classic result. His other best, by the way, was 2nd in his home race, San Sebastian, and that was 4 years ago.
Very impressive ride by Rodriguez. He was doing all the teamwork for Valverde. Valverde could not match the accelerations. Perhaps if he had taken his own chance throughout the day, he might have been able to stay with Andy Schleck, but I don't think there was any stopping Andy Schleck today. And there is the big sprint lining up for 3rd place, but it's going to be Rodriguez in 2nd.
As he crosses the line, about 1:14 down on Andy Schleck, the race for 3rd place here. And it looks as though it might be Sergei Ivanov finishing it off on the left. Oh, it's going to be a bit tight on the line. And I think it was David Rebellin who stole it on the right, and he will have got third. Ivanov, and the salutes there from the boys from Saxo Bank. Nicky Sorensen in the red, champion of Denmark's jersey there, and Frank in the champion of Luxembourg's jersey. But there's the real champion of Luxembourg today as he walks now to the interview area. Andy Schleck has pulled off a terrific result as he's congratulated now by Bjarne Riis, his manager.
Andy Schleck celebrating now what will be his biggest win as a professional so far, and we can expect a lot more from this great champion. Real panache, real aggression, unbelievable riding by the man from Saxo Bank. His brother was able to shepherd in the chase group and discourage that chase a little bit, and gave his younger brother, Andy Schleck, a chance to show his real talent as a great bike racer.
So let's have a look at the results then. Andy Schleck gets the victory by quite a margin over Joaquim Rodriguez at Case-de-Pont. And then leading the main field home, David Rebellin ahead of Philippe Gilbert, Sergei Ivanov, last week's winner of the Amstel Gold. Simon Gerrans continuing his great form in 6th. Cunego 7th, Kolev 9th. The top 10 completed by the Olympic champion Sanchez. Ryder Hejjedal, by the way, for Garmin, he crossed the line in 11th. Well done him. So there they are on the podium. Andy Schleck. I was never great at maths on the fly. In fact, it's 55 years since Marcel Ernzer won this race for Luxembourg, and Andy becomes only the second from the Grand Duchy. He's flanked on our left by Rodriguez, who got a great second place, and David Rebellin winning that sprint from the group. That also was tremendous, Bob.
Great week for Rebellin, first in Flèche-Wallonne and now third in Liège, Bastogne, Liège. But Andy Schleck, the man of the hour, a lifetime of dreaming, goes into this race. His dad was a professional. His brother is a great pro. Saxo Bank has been desperate for results, and Andy Schleck now wins Liège, Bastogne, Liège. He must be one of the youngest winners of this event.
He's got to be. He's only 23 years of age. So the Spring Classics are done, and don't forget, next Sunday at 5 Eastern, remember the new time again, back to our regular slot, we'll be covering the Tour of Romandy with Bob Roll and Paul Sherwin. It was a great ride today, of course, for Andy Schleck. Remember too, for the full schedule, you can log on to our website at versus.com. You'll also find some very interesting and indeed controversial articles from Bob Roll and Frankie Andreo. Our weekly podcast is there, and all of the latest cycling news. So, with well done to Andy and indeed Frank Schleck today. They've cornered it for Luxembourg. I'm Phil Liggett saying goodbye for Bob Roll. Till next week. Goodbye.
The after party is the one you want to attend. Stay thirsty, my friends.
You thought people wouldn't be traveling as much these days. So, why are they still leaving you behind? Time and again, to go off with their other car. Maybe it's the low rates on Avis.com. Maybe it's because your backseat smells like pickles. Or the rate thing.
Find our lowest rates on your favorite other car at Avis.com.
When we first bought the house, the lawn was nothing but brown. So I called my father-in-law. He's really good with the lawn. He knows exactly what to do.
Well, I told him to use Scott's Turf Builder. And he said, well, I got this stuff. I took it, threw it in the garbage. Cheaper brands have filler, sand, gravel, stuff you don't want on your lawn. Scott's Turf Builder is pure food. Every granule is 100% nutrition. You get what you pay for every time. See what happens, Chris, when you listen to your father-in-law? He's getting the hang of it now.
I still think I got the better lawn.
Me. I don't care what he says.
All food, no filler. That's the Scott's advantage.
FreeCreditReport.com. Tell your friends, tell your dad, tell your mom. Never mind, they've been singing our songs since we first showed up with our pirate hats on. If you're not into fake sword fights, pointy slippers and green wool tights, take a tip from a knight who knows. FreeCreditReport.com.
Offer applies with enrollment and triple advantage.
May I help you?
Hi, I need to start saving on car insurance.
Money a bit tight?
Yeah, I've had to cut back, sell some stuff.
Like his watch.
Ah. We can help you save because we instantly compare your Progressive Direct rate with rates from other top companies. Watch this. Nice savings.
This means I can buy my watch back.
Oh, this watch?
Yeah.
Not for sale.
That's cold.
Making sure you get a great deal. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today.
Race control to all teams. Bring the cars to pit road, please. Bring the cars to pit road.
And with those words from race control, Jim Haynes calls the cars from the garage area to pit lane. The IndyCar Series oval track season is about to begin on the high banks of Kansas Speedway. The 2009 IndyCar season. The first 2 races came on road courses with twists and turns and a display of drama.
Oh, Ray Hall is spinning. He is done. Contact.
Oh, both are hard into the wall.
I don't crash. Something's wrong. Under yellow.
From the road to the ovals at more than twice the speed. Today, drivers push to the corners of their first oval race of the season. Kansas Speedway, a place where Dan Weldon has dominated the last 2 races.
Dan Weldon, the Englishman, will win once again.
The first repeat winner at Kansas 2 years in a row. It's Dan Weldon.
If you win Kansas, you take the momentum to Indianapolis.
It's the last turn before the month of May at the Brickyard, where the road leads to the Indianapolis 500 title. In less than 1 hour, the Indy cars will be traveling at speeds well over 200 miles an hour. Welcome to IndyCar Central on Versus as we get set for the Kansas Indy 300. Very windy at Kansas today, 25-mile-an-hour winds gusting to 35. But the strong winds are not keeping the fans away. They're here, and so are we, ready for action. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Jenkins, and as was the case yesterday, it is very windy here at Kansas, and there is a chance of rain. Now, yesterday, the rain didn't arrive until evening. Hopefully, that's the way it'll be today, and we can get this race in its entirety. This is the first oval track race of the year, and it is also the final one before the Indianapolis 500. Believe it or not, peak pole qualifying for the Indy 500 is less than 2 weeks away. And speaking of qualifying, here at Kansas yesterday, a couple of very interesting developments. Dario Franchitti was on the pole for a while, but got the left side tires under the white line, which had been declared out of bounds by IndyCar Series President of Competition Brian Barnhart. The same thing happened to Helio Castroneves. Both had their qualifying runs disallowed, and both will start at the back of the field. Robert Dornbos, in his first season in the IndyCars and very first race on an oval driving for Newman Haas Lanigan, shocked the crowd with, at that time, third best speed. But then the very last qualifier, his teammate, Graham Rahal, clocked in with an astounding 2:11.311, good enough for the peak pole position, his second already this year. Members of the front row are with our pit strategist, Jack Arute.
And Bob, it's only fitting that in the land of Oz, Kansas, Newman Haas Lanigan Racing should score their first IndyCar front row sweep. Now, Robert Dornbos, I want to start with you first. You've had Arie Luyendyk, two-time Indy 500 champion, tutoring you about qualifying. What has he told you about the race itself?
Yeah, no, it's great to have Arie here. It's keep turning left. That was one of the first phrases he said, and no, it's good. He gives good advice, and he was a bit surprised in qualifying as well that I got to grips with the track quite quick, and we did a good lap, and yeah, now we're up on the front row, so it's not bad. But for sure next month he's going to be even more helpful in Indianapolis.
Now, when you look to the side, you're going to see your teammate here. I like to call him Ronald McDonald, but let's talk for a moment when you saw your teammate go out the way he did and post that fast time. What did you think?
Well, I mean, it was pretty impressive, and they told me, you know, obviously I'm sitting in the car already. I can't really hear what the guy in the PA is saying, but they told me, hey, you know, Robert just did this time and everything. And so I was thinking, you know, that's pretty good. You know, if he can do that, we as teammates, we ought to be able to do at least that. And we went out, and sure enough, you know, the car felt really good. I mean, my warm-up lap was as quick as, you know, I think a mile an hour quicker than Dixon went. And so I was thinking, you know, if we can just keep this going, we'll be in good shape.
If you have to pick one thing that you can take from the pole pole position and translate and parlay into a trip to victory lane here, what would it be?
We need to run out front. I mean, the wind today is absolutely horrible. You know, I think I've raced in rain, I've raced in everything, but after practice this morning, I'm not sure I've raced in anything as treacherous as 30-mile-an-hour winds on an oval at 200 miles an hour. So for us, really, I think the biggest thing is that we got to keep the McDonald's car up front and have good pit stops and just kind of we can pace this race, and that's what we need to do.
Well, Robbie, if either of these guys hope to best and be the best in victory lane today, well, they're going to have to beat the undisputed Wizard of Kansas, aren't they?
You're exactly right. And you know, Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz wanted to click her heels and head back to Kansas. There's one man who has such great success on this track, and I'm quite sure he's been clicking those Pumas ready to come back.
Dan Weldon has made quick work of the Penske cars. He moves to second. We've got a race for the lead off of turn number 2. Weldon trying to pull up on his good friend Tony Kanaan. Dan Weldon will be the leader with 9 of 200 laps complete. Dan Weldon will win this one.
Scott Dixon surrenders the lead to teammate Dan Weldon. And look what happened. He gets around the slower traffic, and Tony Kanaan is boxed. That may have just sealed the deal for Dan Weldon. His 14th career win. He'll become the first repeat winner at Kansas.
Well, Dan Weldon, solid is the word to describe him. I mean, 382 laps that he's led here in only 1,054. A couple of seconds in the last 2 races, both taking the victory here. This is a guy who loves this track, and I'm quite sure you've been clicking those Pumas in camouflage, I might add, as well, ready to come back to this place, huh?
Yeah, it's obviously been a great track for me, and you know, it's a race that I just seem to, or a racetrack I seem to go very well at. But you know, at Panther Racing, we've had a good car this weekend. Unfortunately, I got a little too brave in qualifying and made the car way too loose. But I think we have a reasonable race car. Obviously, the wind is just playing havoc with everybody. But hopefully, we're on top of that and we'll have a good race.
I know it's a team effort in Panther Racing looking for their first ever victory here in Kansas, but you said something then. You made the car too loose. When I talked to you after qualifying yesterday, you said the team made it a little too loose for you. I'm hearing some difference.
Well, you win as a team and you lose as a team. I mean, that's certainly the motto at Panther Racing, and we've got a lot of hard work to do to make sure that we're in victory lane. You know, not just once, but on a regular basis. But I certainly came to this team believing that that's going to be the case, and certainly with the help of National Guard and everybody on board, you know, we're pushing hard. So this I would like, and I think it's probably a good opportunity for us to potentially get a first win. But that's by no means underestimating the competition. It's incredibly tight this year.
It's not underestimating the competition because you are so strong here, guys. He's moving up in the point standings, especially after finishing 5th last week at Long Beach.
All right, thanks, Robbie. Heading into this third race of 17, Dario Franchitti, by virtue of his win last Sunday in Long Beach, has the points lead. Will Power, second in points, is not entered in this race. He will be back in Indy. Don't forget, Graham Rahal gets a point for the pole. These top 10 drivers represent 7 different teams. I'm on my way to the booth. Lindy Thaxton will be here in a moment, and Dario Franchitti and Tony Kanaan will be here soon. This is IndyCar Central on Versus. Stay with us.
I've driven a lot of different cars, but 2 things never change. No one demands more from their car than me, and nothing protects under the hood better than Peak.
Peak Long Life Antifreeze is formulated with an advanced organic technology to protect any engine of any make, any model, any time. If you can drive it, Peak can protect it.
And when I drive it, it better perform.
Peak Long Life Antifreeze.
When you peak, you win.
Get your heart ready. A new energy is going to jolt you. The unique energy of Brazilian products and services.
Watch me.
Go to the experience TowerEnergy.com and discover Brazilian products.
My little Brazilian buddy did as usual and sat at home and came up with this crazy idea that if he wins a race first, I've got to shave all my hair off. If I win the race first, he's got to grow it.
Next time you guys see Tony Kanaan, he's going to start growing his afro, and it's going to get progressively bigger as the year goes on.
Well, guys, take a look. This is my hair now, so I'm going to let it grow until I win. So I guess I'll win Kansas again next week, and then I get to shave my hair and his head. So we'll see. I hope we can do that.
Welcome back to IndyCar Central on Versus from Kansas Speedway. I'll be talking to Dario and TK in just a moment about that wager. They will join me up here shortly. Like we've mentioned, this is the first race in 2009 on an oval. An oval is where the world of spotters really comes into play. Each team has one, and they will guide their driver around this 1.5-mile track from high atop the grandstands. Yesterday, Jack Arute spent some time up there.
What might be a driver's very best friend is located high atop each speedway and atop the highest point on a grandstand. They are the driver's spotters. Their role is multifunctional. Not only do they have to try and help a driver negotiate through a crash area avoiding debris, oftentimes they have to play part strategist, part coach, and part Dr. Phil. There's a camaraderie amongst drivers and their spotters, but there's also a camaraderie amongst spotters themselves. Sometimes they play a critical role in finding a drafting partner by going down to a fellow spotter and trying to hook up a deal. The tools of the trade are pretty straightforward. A radio, a set of binoculars, and a special vibrating buzzer that's directly connected to race control.
2-4 jumped right up in front of the 2-car at speed down the back there.
The critical moment here in race control is when a caution comes out and this toggle switch is turned on. A radio frequency goes to the cars, to the teams, and also to a pager attached to each individual driver spotter. A built-in redundancy so that when the track goes yellow, everybody can slow down as quickly as possible.
Got a pack of 5 in 1 and 2 right now.
Well, we're very fortunate here on Versus. My partner has experienced it both as a driver and as a spotter. So, Robbie Buell, let me put your helmet back on. When you had a spotter, what did you want to hear from him?
Well, when I was in the cockpit, what I wanted to hear is he's an extra set of eyes. I don't want him looking right in front of the car because I can do that. I want him looking ahead, maybe telling me what's going on behind me, what's developing on the racetrack. But if there's an incident out there, I want to tell him where I got to go to avoid that. Sometimes you need a motivator. Now, if they talk too much, I had that unique ability that I just take him whatever I want, and I didn't hear what I didn't want to hear.
And then you moved topside, and you became a spotter yourself. Did it change the way you went about things?
It did. You know, a lot of you said, oh, going up to spotting, you know, that's a big responsibility. For me, it was a really easy transition. The one thing that I was spotting was if I looked away from the track for a moment and then I was looking back to the track, I'm like, where's my car? Where's my, you know, you have that little anxiety of picking up your car. But no, you know, I knew what the driver wanted to hear. And the last thing you want to do is come on the driver's headset right when he's in the middle of something. And being in the cockpit at one point, you hopefully know when that is the right time to motivate him or to say nothing or to say the right things.
I just want to remind you, when you're spotting, you're not supposed to be watching the race, okay? Use your head. Hey, one thing I do know, Lindy Thaxton, whoever gets to victory lane today, well, he's going to give credit to his crew chief, to his crew, but he's also going to call out his spotter as well.
Yeah, clearly, Jack, there is a lot of confidence between a driver and his or her spotter. And just of note, more than half the drivers today are working with their spotter for the very first time. Well, Dario Franchitti will have to work his way through the field today, but he is certainly no stranger to Victory Circle. He has won 9 times on an oval, and he is coming off of a road course win at Long Beach.
The 35th running of the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. And the green flag is out. Here we go.
And Power got a great jump. Franchitti has already lost 2 spots.
Franchitti will take 3rd spot from Justin Wilson. Dario Franchitti taken 2nd from Rafael Matos.
Power down, boys.
Green flag waves once again. Franchitti punches it. The checkered flag waves for Dario. It's his 9th career win.
That exercises a lot of demons there.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, thanks for being here. Looking good.
Yeah, you're making fun of me already, huh?
No, I'm not making fun of you.
Thanks.
Yeah, he's going to look really nice in a couple of weeks. We came up with some new rules for this bet. Tony's now he's got to grow his hair through Indy, so even if he does win...
No matter today.
No matter what happens today, so if he does win Indy 500, he's going to have a nice fro on the Borg Warner, so we'll see what happens.
Hold on a second. It matters today, because if I win, I'll shave his head, but I'm not allowed to cut my hair until after the 500. So I guess you guys are going to see an Afro Tony pretty soon.
An Afro Tony, sounds good. Okay, well, let's talk about qualifying with you, Dario. Tough start, possibly the toughest start, because you're starting at the back of the grid. You've started here 4 times, though. You were near the top and then dropped to the end because you crossed the white line. What do you have to do at this point to get to the front and stay there?
Yeah, absolutely. We were, I think we're second quickest, but I crossed the line just to start finish. I actually touched the line and the seam dragged me across it. So a rule's a rule. I was below the white line and the official sent me to the back, and I'm fine with that. The Nicorette car is fast, but with this wind today, it's going to be a really, really tough. But 200 laps, at least probably 4 pit stops. It should be pretty interesting.
Well, Dario, we're going to let you go ahead and get over to driver intros over there. Tony, stay with us. We're going to talk about qualifying. You were starting 8th. You said that your car was really loose in qualifying and you were not happy with it, with where you ended up. What are your concerns today?
Well, like everybody else, I mean, it was the wind. I mean, we were too greedy in qualifying for sure, and we tried to put it on the pole, and actually it cost us a lot. But today the conditions are really bad, and I think if you talk to any other driver, everybody's concerned. So it's basically going to be about surviving, and there is no 2 grooves yet because of the rain. The track's being really dirty, so we'll see what's going to happen.
You won here in 2005, pulled here in 2007. How much does race history matter once you get out there on race day?
I finished 2nd here last year. It doesn't really matter. Somebody told me that when I won here in 05, I started 8th. So I guess I'm starting 8th today, but it makes me feel good, but I don't think it matters. The way that the field is so competitive right now. So I want to say hi to my son at home. That he's watching his first race that he understands, and my family.
Cool.
So see you guys.
Thank you, Tony. We'll let you get going. Good luck to you today. And there is a good possibility that TK will be able to cut his hair. Well, gosh, I guess they changed the bet now, huh? He has won at least 1 oval each year since 2003. And there are 3 women in the field this year at Kansas. Milka Duno is making her first start, as is Sarah Fisher, and she has the added responsibility of being a driver owner.
Right now, even in our 2nd year of business as a race team, you know, we're having a lot of growing pains. I have so many responsibilities of an owner on top of being a driver. You know, meetings with engineers and trying to talk to sponsors, and it's kind of challenging. All the folks that we have at our team sort of bounce me around to the different locations, so I'm very thankful that they're there. It's something I enjoy. It's something I'm very passionate about. Why else would I start a race team? I love racing, and I'll always be a part of it.
I've driven a lot of different cars, but 2 things never change. No one demands more from their car than me, and nothing protects under the hood better than Peak.
Peak Long Life Antifreeze is formulated with an advanced organic technology to protect any engine of any make, any model, any time. If you can drive it, Peak can protect it.
And when I drive it, it better perform.
Peak Long Life Antifreeze.
When you peak, you win.
A rope. It has many uses in sports. In basketball, it hangs from the rim. In hockey, it forms the goal. It's even used to tie up your cleats. Mike Lee uses a rope to bind himself to his 1-ton pissed-off opponent. Sports are tougher on versus.
Searching for your next car? got to go to VHIX.com.
You can find whatever car you want. 1.2 million vehicles. Over 1.2 million cars. Where else are you going to go? You can search down to the specifics. The exact color, the exact price, the exact make, the exact model. Now that's searching. If it's not there, they'll send you an email when it is.
Dude, we got your car. Come pick it up.
Search over 1 million new and used vehicles for the car you want at VHIX.com, your online resource to find your ride. Local dealer inventories are now searchable at VHIX.com on your mobile phone.
The Stanley Cup playoffs on Versus. Every second counts. Tonight at 7 Eastern, the New Jersey Devils lead the Carolina Hurricanes 3-2 in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Devils Hurricanes Game 6 tonight at 7 Eastern, right here on Versus. Back here at Versus IndyCar Central, the drivers are being introduced. Kansas Speedway is filling up as the wind blows, and we hope the rain holds off. It has been a tough start for defending champion Scott Dixon, finishing 16th at St. Pete, finishing 15th at Long Beach, and at the moment he finds himself 17th in the point standings.
It was a tough day. You know, you always had to try and outbrake somebody into one or some other area.
Scott Dixon is losing a ton of time. They still don't have him in his spots.
Look at his left front. His left front was stuck.
Yeah.
Liddy, something's wrong. Right over the backside of Dixon.
Oh, from behind, there was contact. Oh, Dixon.
Briscoe hits him.
Well, Dixon has lost a lap.
Yeah, just a bad day, sort of tumbled into more bad things, but looking forward to Kansas. When you got a fast car, you can definitely make it to the front on an oval.
Scott Dixon, so strong in 2008 in the 11 oval races, 5 wins, including that big race, the Indianapolis 500, but also never finished lower than 4th place on those ovals. That is a remarkable record, Scott. I know you're ready to pick up where you left off last year.
Yeah, we're definitely going to try. You know, the target car's been strong this weekend. I don't know, the field seems to have closed up a little bit this year. I think with the change in rules and things like that, it's not enabled the teams to develop things in different areas, and you know, it's going to be a tough race, and we're starting 4th. Dario's coming up the back there with the Nicorette car, so we've got the field covered, I think, right over the whole distance. So, but we've got to try and go for a win. You know, we're back a long ways on points now, and we've really got to pick it up.
And aren't you owed one at this track? Didn't you have the car to maybe win last year and take it from Dan Weldon?
Yeah, you know, the team did well last year. Target won, obviously, with Dan, but you know, we definitely need to pick it up, and I think Kansas owes me one, so hopefully it does today.
What about Robert Dornbos being just in front of you? Is there any concern there with him being a rookie at his first time on this course?
You know, it's to say a concern. I think that's not the word I'd use. You know, I think the guy's obviously very accomplished. He's a good driver, and you know, it's daunting to go on your first oval and try and pick up what a lot of guys have been doing for years. So, you know, hopefully he keeps it clean and has a great day. But, you know, I suspect he's going to be as quick as everybody else.
So that may not be the word to use, but when you have a guy his first time out there in that first lap, it could get ugly. Jack, you with EJ?
Yeah, and Robbie, one of the things you're going to watch is he's qualified only in the 18th position, but when you put EJ Viso in the back of the pack, especially on an oval, boy, does he move to the front. Take a look at 2008 and the record. It seems like every time he didn't qualify very well on an oval, by the end of the day, he was up front. He knows how to bring a car to the front, and today, EJ Viso, you're going to have to do it again. How many chances do you take when you're trying to navigate through to the front of the pack?
Well, fortunately, we're in a small team, and our potential is getting better every time, but you know, in racing, the opportunities are very few, and you need to take any chance, any opportunity you can find in the track. Today is going to be a very tough race. I'm starting dead last. It's extremely windy, and I will go for it. I have nothing to lose. I'm starting in the back of the pack, so this should be a good one.
Now, you're a thrill seeker. You like to try all sorts of things. We've seen you on IndyCar television with a unicycle, but tell me a little bit about your pet boa constrictor.
Well, I have a very cute pet. Her name is Tracy, and it's back in Barcelona. It's the Boa Albina, and I love it. Yeah, it's a snake.
Well, I don't think he's going to have to carry the snake, Lindy, but I'm trying to arrange to see if we can have the snake flown into Indy so we can send it over to you.
I'm not scared. That doesn't scare me, Jack. Well, coming up, Elio Castroneves back in the driver's seat and back with us live on IndyCar Central on Versus.
Tire rack
TireRack.com, we stock the largest selection of tires anywhere, all at great low prices. But we don't just ship them off to your house after you buy them. We can deliver them to one of over 5,000 of our independent recommended local installers. Because the best tires in the world can't help you if they're not properly installed on your vehicle. A national network of over 5,000 recommended installers. One more way, Tire Rack is revolutionizing the way you buy tires.
TireRack.com. Research, buy, deliver, install.
Start your engine.
Look tired right now. They're not firing on all cylinders.
And the Red Wings are ahead.
Professional bull riding. The only sport where you're actually bound to your opponent. Sports are tougher on Versus.
Welcome back to IndyCar Central on Versus, live from Kansas Speedway. As we've mentioned, 3 women will be taking the green flag here at Kansas today. For Danica Patrick, she has good memories of Kansas. This is where she achieved her first career pole in 2005. Of course, Danica has the only series win, and the 1-year anniversary of that victory was last Monday.
Danica pulls up on Elio Castroneves. They're going side by side. Danica Patrick is the leader.
She starts to pull away from him already into turn number 1.
Only a few hundred yards away from making history.
Boys, move over. The lady is coming through. Danica Patrick wins at Twin Ring Motegi.
It's a long time coming. Finally.
It was a happy, emotional moment for you at Motegi. We're celebrating that anniversary this week, but it had to be a pretty emotional moment for you last week, having the car that wasn't the fastest, but still putting it in 4th spot.
This just shows kind of what the weather's like today here. Let's just put a headband on. Yeah, it was, you know, remembering Motegi is always a good memory, and then it was nice to have such a good result at Long Beach. We had struggled so much in practice and qualifying, and then, you know, really got to turn it around in the race with good strategy and then the ability to maintain and run good pace while still saving the fuel it took to make it a 2-stop race. So, good memories.
Coming into this first oval, things are looking well for you. You're just behind Graham Rahal. You like the ovals, don't you?
I do, yeah. They, the ovals are, the race is the tough part. You know, I think, you know, on the road courses, everything leading up to it is sort of the stressful, hard part. And then when the race comes, it's usually about saving a little bit of fuel and being smart and still maintaining pace. But you're holding back a little bit to be able to, you know, do less stops. Where here, you stop under yellow, and you know, you really are kind of dictated by the yellow flags. So, you know, you're really racing hard the entire time. So we've got pivotal conditions today.
That's the business side of things. Back to the fun side for Danica Patrick. The Shape magazine cover, another cover for you, or another magazine for you. You're just all model now, it seems.
No, I'm not. But I get to do some fun things in the off season, and you know, most all that stuff really gets done in the winter months when I'm able to prepare properly for those kinds of photo shoots. So I'm really excited to be on the cover of Shape. It's my first girl cover, like real girl cover. So I've always read the issues, so it's a real honor to be on that cover.
Well, it's a women's magazine, Lindy, but I'm sure quite a few guys are going to be picking up that issue.
Well, when I went to buy mine, I can tell you there weren't many left. Well, of course, the big news in Long Beach was the return of Elio Castroneves. After his acquittal on tax evasion charges, he finished 7th. But for Elio, just to return to racing was victory in itself.
It's been an emotional weekend at that. The reason for the emotion, certainly the return of Elio Castroneves on Friday just before 2 o'clock when the word came that Elio and his sister Kati had been cleared of the tax evasion charges that had kept Elio out of a race car for nearly 6 months.
Oh, it's nice to be back. Oh, my God.
I love you. I'm so glad to see you.
Okay,
he is back. He is ready to race. He is happy.
All right, bud, we're P9 right now. P9, tell us about it.
Yeah, I was just getting sliding quite a lot all over the place. I just brushed the wall.
P11. 3 minutes, P11.
It's a lot of understeer now.
All right, last lap. One more lap. P8, bud. You need a 9.8. Need a 9.8.
Oh, and Elio has had contact. Wow.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. You ready? Yeah. I was born ready.
Hey, you ready here, bud? Spot 1. Green, green, green. 2, 1. Reset your fuel. Watch Rick here. Watch Rick. Go, go, go. You got him on your left. You got him on your left. You're good, you're good, you're good. Good job there, bud. Just like the old days.
Like Mario Marias had to get on the brakes, hit the tire barrier. And
how bad that yellow hurts us?
Yeah, yellow killed us. We're probably going to come out second there. Now, these guys aren't going to have to stop, so we're just racing from here.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Kind of back where we started, dude.
Oh, by the way, when I had a clear lap, man, that was awesome. Carlos handling okay. Some people would have new tires.
The yellow car's a lap down, so he's going to make it a mess there. The yellow car's a lap down.
A guy that has run so well as we have a close confrontation there.
There was contact.
Yeah.
Carpenter.
Checker flag, checker flag. Let's stick with it there. P7 today, P7. Good job.
To be back in the car, to be back on racing, to talk about racing, man.
You drove a good race. There's nothing we can do.
It was like a Sunday drive, except I was in the front. Thank you. Thank you so much. This is what I love, and I'm so glad to be back.
It was a special day for Helio Castroneves, taking 7th place, but actually getting back in the race car. This is the first time you've been in an oval since that victory at Chicagoland. How does it feel so far?
Oh, so far it feels great. You know, my guys, they've been spectacular. You know, Team Penske's been awesome. They were able to let me take in my time, you know, especially in oval when everything goes so fast. And slowly but surely, we're making the change in the car. And certainly, we had a very fast car. Unfortunately, we started in the back, but we have a long race ahead of us.
You were very happy yesterday when you got out of the car. You didn't think the car would be that strong for all 4 laps, did you?
Yeah, I mean, we knew that it had a strong car, but I wasn't expecting to be that fast, you know. But again, the guys did a fantastic job, and hopefully today we're going to have a good race.
Well, there's a lot of wind, probably 30 mile an hour and more with the gust. How does it affect you?
Well, it's not only affect me, but affect everybody. That's the good news. The bad news is it's always very difficult for you to run in the ovals when you have strong wings like that. So hopefully everybody be smart. You know, we're trying to make some adjustment on the car to be more downforce. And hey, like I said, it's going to be a fun ride.
7 years you've been racing here, 1,400 laps. You have to be physically fit. And we saw that little piece on Danica Patrick just a moment ago. We got to see her magazine cover. Should that be the new manual for the IndyCar series? I'm thinking that should be what you go for. Take a look at your reaction when you saw Danica's little piece right there.
Well, look, I'm sorry, but I didn't see that magazine before, and she's looking, well, pretty fit.
Looks pretty good, doesn't she?
That's pretty good, you know. I tell you, she's going to do well. She have a very good car as well, but she does look pretty good in that magazine.
Maybe we'll see you in muscle and health.
Hey, I don't know.
Hang on, is that your suit? Are you blushing a little bit?
I'm sorry, man. You're catching me a little bit on guard here, but hey, let's talk about race. Hopefully we're going to have fun.
We are going to have fun. I'm sure everybody's going to have a lot of fun watching him go from the back row, hopefully up to the front, Jack.
And Robbie, this is the first time in quite some time that Helio Castroneves is back on the oval, as you alluded to, but the guy that filled in admirably for Helio Castroneves is not on the grid here as the Penske Verizon wireless car gets ready for the Indy 500. We're talking about the man that finished second last week. That, of course, Will Power, who filled in so well, Roger Penske, while Helio was absent, and now he's not here. How tough was that decision to make?
Well, I think you got to take your head off to Will. As we set up the season with Helio with his situation and knowing that hopefully he'd be back in the seat, Will agreed to take on this assignment. And again, we had a car ready last week for him. Helio was back, which was great. And again, he did a terrific job. But I think the key thing is Will's a guy on our team for the future, and we will have a car for him at Indianapolis. And remember, 30 years ago, Rick Mears took a temporary ride because Mario Andretti was running in Formula One, and guess what? He won 4 Indy 500s.
And we've got Rick Mears here, and Rick, one of the things that I found interesting is this guy, the captain, had to sit you down for a couple of races because Mario was available. How tough as a driver was it?
Well, hey, it's tough as a driver because you want to compete. But, you know, I knew, like Roger said about Will, I knew that going in. I knew that was part of the situation. But I also knew that even a part-time deal with Roger's operation would by far be better for me than a full-time deal at most. So it was not that hard to do. It's hard because you're a competitor, but it's not hard because you know the situation and the team you're involved with.
You spent a lot of time last week, especially down in the Verizon pit. You got a chance to see Will after the race. Did you give him any or impart to him any words of wisdom?
Well, you know, it's just you try to help it any way you can, but it's mainly just hang in there. You know, timing's everything, and you just got to wait and see how things fall. You know, and which is what we did, and things fell our direction. So he did a great job for us, and I think he's going to do a great job at Indianapolis. We're looking forward to getting him there.
One final question about today, Roger Penske. It's the Kansas Indy 300, but are you racing for 300 miles, or is it 150 with the way the weather is?
Well, I think we're going to race for 300, I hope, but with this wind, it's going to be unbelievable. We've never had a circumstance like this that I've seen in a number of years. Lots of new drivers. A lot of people haven't been on ovals like this before, so we got to watch, but we got to be there at 150 also.
Yeah, guys, I think that was the key when he said we got to be there at 150. A little bit later, I'm going to give you my strategy about how that might just work out and send someone to victory lane. The cars are lined up. We're just waiting for the call for drivers to strap in. And then get ready, because we're counting down the clock for the start of the Kansas Indy 300. You'll see it all here on Versus.
Easy to roll on a truck bed liner. It won't chip, flake, or peel. Herculiner is the only one with a textured rubber and polyurethane formula. It'll turn any truck bed into a tough, skid-proof, rust-resistant surface. Do it all yourself for less than $100. With Herculiner, the tough comes easy.
Join us for the best of Sports Soup 09 as Shaq gets down and Barkley gets up. Plus the top stories of the year.
The best of Sports Soup on...
Searching for your next car? You gotta go to VHIX.com. You can find whatever car you want. 1.2 million vehicles. Over 1.2 million cars. Where else are you gonna go? You can search down to the specifics. The exact color, the exact price, the exact make, the exact model. Now that's searching. If it's not there, they'll send you an email when it is. Dude, we got your car. Come pick it up.
Search over 1 million new and used vehicles for the car you want at VHIX.com, your online resource to find your ride. List your vehicle for free on VHIX and reach millions of interested car buyers.
I went to VHIX.com before I bought my car. They have these video consumer reviews, and it's real people talking about the best-selling, most researched cars, and you can find out about the car you want to buy. Real people talking about the cars that they own. They tell you what they think about it. Video consumer reviews. Videos, videos, videos. This is a great way to learn about a car. I like my car.
Watch the all-new consumer video reviews now available at VHIX.com, your online resource to find your ride. Watch VHIX video buying guides and test drives powered by Wheels TV on Comcast On Demand.
Country, the early bird catches a lot more than the worm. So, every weekend morning, rise and shine with Mike Iaconelli in City Limits Fishing.
And this is the kind of bass you catch. Downtown D.C.
Welcome to Versus Country, every Saturday and Sunday morning starting at 7:30.
Here's the thing that makes life so interesting. The theory of evolution claims only the strong shall survive. But the theory of competition says just because they're the strong doesn't mean they can't get their asses kicked. Don't be surprised if somebody decides to flip the script and take a pass on yelling uncle. And then suddenly, as the old saying goes, we got ourselves a game.
The start of the Kansas Indy 300 just moments away. You know, when we see in-car shots, it appears sometimes the driver is just on a Sunday drive. But Jan Bika says there's really a lot going on in the cockpit.
In oval track racing, track conditions are always changing, and with tire wear, it means the balance of the race car always moves around. Now, in those circumstances, a driver's best friend is oftentimes the weight jacker. Now, in Dan Weldon's case, he has two buttons on either side labeled WJ. He can press those and then get an indicator on the dash as to what position he's in. Now, here's what it does. It runs a hydraulic motor that then moves hydraulically a cylinder that's at the base of the right rear shock absorber. It's kind of like having a table on an uneven surface, and you would put a shim under one leg to balance it back in. Now, what's really cool about this system, this is a $50,000 computer-controlled system that you can program. So you can take a remote laptop and make any of those buttons do anything you want. In Dan Weldon's case, he likes 5 pounds of change for each press of the button. But what's really cool is if you press both buttons at the same time, you can program it to do whatever you want. Let's say you're coming in for a pit stop. You could press both buttons and preload the car. Because the banking on pit road is different than the racetrack, it would make the car brake in a straight line.
And here now with my booth mates, Jan over on my far left and Robbie Buell. So Jan, this first oval track race of the year, will we see a lot of that weight jacking going on?
Oh yeah, we're going to see a lot of movement going on because of the wind. You've heard the drivers talk about it. Robbie, when I talked to the drivers after this morning's warm-up, it was just like what we heard from Graham Rahal, treacherous. With this wind, the car's going to be moving around. Think about the concentration. You have to think about the wind. The car's so close to you at over 200 miles an hour. And then you don't want your car imbalanced, Robbie, because if it does, you'll wear the tires and then really be in big trouble.
You do, and all that sums up experience. The drivers with the most experience out here, I think, are really going to be the ones that have a big payday. And it's all about timing the pass. You want to set yourself up. You want to figure out where the strengths and weaknesses are of the guys in front of you. And if you time it wrong and you get the door shut on you, you're going to dump the throttle and lose 2 spots. So you really need to plan ahead. You heard how important the spotters were. The spotters got to give the drivers that little tee up to say, hey, this is what's going on in front of you.
All right, now, after this race, of course, the Indianapolis 500, as a car owner, Robbie, you're, of course, keeping an eye on this race, but are you also looking ahead to Indy?
As a car owner, I don't like the wind here today. but we are on track at Indianapolis, the biggest deal there is, in 10 days. So, obviously, you want to come out of here with the best possible finish. Everybody here wants to win, but you want to roll the car back on the trailer. You want to have time to massage that car. You don't want to be fixing your cars. You want to massage them to make them perfect for the month of May.
And Jan, as we take a look at the starting lineup for this race, boy, what a difference a year makes.
Yes, 1 year ago, Graham Rahal only qualified 20th here, but I spoke with their crew chief on both cars, Mitch Davis, said last year we just didn't have the parts and pieces that we needed. They've changed the regulations. Everyone's running the same wheelbase now. It says we've had time to put this car together the way we want to. But think about his teammate alongside, Robert Dornbos. He's got a fast car, but starting your first ever race on an oval from the front on a windy day at these kind of speeds, whew, that's going to be tough.
All right, we did pretty well with our predictions last week.
Yeah, some of us. Sure we did.
Well, at Long Beach. I'm predicting the winner today from the back, just like at Chicagoland, Elio Castroneves, and best performance by a non-winner, Sarah Fisher. You, Robbie?
For me, Scott Dixon. He's due to get some points. He's had a really tough time at St. Pete, Long Beach. It's going to be his day. After that, for a non-winner, Ed Carpenter. He's got the experience. We just talked about how important that is, and I think he's got a shot.
I'm going to go with you, Robbie, on Scott Dixon. I think he has the kind of patience that you need here to get the job done. And I'm going with Dornbos. I know you guys have picked people with oval experience. That's really smart, but I'm picking the guy with the fast car.
Jack, we saw who you picked. Why?
Well, I have to agree with what Jan has said, and I think until proven otherwise, when you look at the record of Scott Dixon, it's not on the road courses anymore. It's on the ovals, and he's been phenomenal in the way Dornbos qualified. Ari Leyendijk's at his side. Who knows, he may have given him a few tricks. What about you, Lindy?
I'm going to go with Tony Kanaan to win this one. As we've heard, he has won at least one oval every year since '03. I think he's going to take this one in '09. Best finish by a non-winner, I'm going to go with Dornbos as well. I know it's his first time, but I'm going to give the '06 a shot. What about you, Robbie?
Well, guys, I had Dixon at first, and I had to go for some relief. I had to bring in the righty, Dan Weldon. I think when you've won 2 races in a row, why not go for the turkey and take 3? I don't know if his car is there yet, but when you want experience, you want Dan Weldon in the car in Kansas. Robert Dornbos for my first guy. You put him on the front, he's fast. I saw him practicing in Texas. The guy's strong.
All right, well, you guys at home keep track of who you predict and who we think is going to win the race. Thanks for joining us on IndyCar Central on Versus. Stay tuned. The green flag and the start of the Kansas Indy 300 moments away.
Pit this lap. 3, 2,
Get your heart ready. A new energy is going to jolt you. The unique energy of Brazilian products and services.
Set your fuel. Set your fuel. Watch me.
Go to experienceourenergy.com and discover Brazilian products.
I've driven a lot of different cars, but two things never change. No one demands more from their car than me, and nothing protects under the hood better than Peak.
Peak Long Life Antifreeze is formulated with an advanced organic technology to protect any engine of any make, any model, any time. If you can drive it, Peak can protect it.
And when I drive it, it better perform.
Peak Long Life Antifreeze.
When you peak, you win.
On this week's Best of Sports Soup 09, the top stories of the year so far. And bodies. Lots and lots of bodies.
3,600 people a year dumped into this river? Way more than that.
It's going to freak you out.
The Best of Sports Soup on Versus.
Vickery Motorsports has done it again. Get on a new 07 Yamaha Warrior for $89 a month. This sweet bike features a 102 cubic inch V-twin motor, fuel injection, long and low styling, plus it's easy at the gas pump. Originally $12,500, now only $89.99. Save $3,500 on this sweet bike. Vickery is only one of 5 Yamaha dealers nationally with Yamaha's highest customer satisfaction rating. Vickery Motorsports, 2231 South Parker Road at Isla. See store for financing details.
Attention Colorado race fans. World-class racing is right in your backyard. Miller Motorsports Park in Salt Lake City features one of the premier racing venues in North America. The American Le Mans Series races onto the scene May 16th and 17th. And the Hans Spree FIM Superbike World Championship roars into town May 29th through the 31st. Colorado ticket packages are available now by calling 435-277-RACE or log on to mmptix.com. Miller Motorsports Park. Hear it, feel it, love it.
The season has taken the stage twice, both on road courses. Elio Castroneves made his return to the series last week.
I had a fair trial. It's so nice to be back in my environment.
And Dario Franchitti gave his wife a victory on her birthday in just his second race since returning to open wheel racing.
I'm going to wish happy birthday to my wife.
Oh, what a sweetie.
Today, the IndyCar Series starts on an oval for the first time in 09 as the King of Kansas, Dan Weldon, looks for a three-peat.
The first repeat winner at Kansas. 2 years in a row, it's Dan Weldon.
Who will take the momentum from Kansas to the Brickyard and become one of the early favorites to win the Indianapolis 500? It is just about time. Notice it's very cloudy here, but so far we're in good shape as far as rain is concerned. Please stay away so we can get all of this race here in this afternoon. Should be a good one on the high banks of Kansas. For the command, Dan Wright from Time Warner Cable as we get set to get this event underway.
Race fans, are you ready?
about to hear the most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome back Dan Wright from Time Warner Cable of Kansas City as he gives the command.
Drivers, start your engines.
Engine start command has been given. Starting with row 1, count them off. Race control, row 1, hot. 2, hot. 3, hot. 4, hot. 5, hot. 6, hot. 7, hot. 8, hot. 9, hot. 10, hot.
And 11 row is also hot. We have the entire 22-car starting field under power, and we're just moments away from the cars moving onto the racetrack and the drop of the green flag. Well, let's salute our Peak Pole Award winner again. He is Graham Rahal, who has already this year taken 2 Peak Pole Awards. Yesterday, the very last qualifier, qualifying at 211.311, and he's the man who was on the podium with the check in hand. Congratulations to Graham. Now, remember, this year, the pole winners get 1 point toward the championship, and Graham is rolling, as are the others. Here's our pit strategist, Jack Arute.
Guys, I know this is the Kansas Indy 300, but if I'm a strategist right now, I'm looking at it as getting to the halfway mark. So what am I going to do with my team? What I'm going to try and do, like on every super speedway, I want to make fuel, but I want to take advantage of some uncertainty in terms of driver combinations and maybe say there's going to be a couple of cautions. That's going to allow me to get more than 3.2 miles per gallon, be able to make it to the halfway point on one stop. The big key is every strategist has told me they've got to be fluid throughout the first half of the race, trying to have fuel from lap 95 to 105 if it goes to caution for rain to still be with the lead pack. Now, this is the radar right now, and you can see this is 30 miles out the outer band. You can see green, red, and yellow. So it means it's about 45 miles out. Every crew has got one of these radar displays, and of all the telemetry, everything that you measure in real time, all the data, the most imprecise data that they're going to have to rely on today is right here with the weather. Have you ever seen a weatherman be right?
Yeah, you're right, but that line of showers, it seems, has been there all morning, and it's tended to stay away from us and go north, so let's hope that it continues to do that. Take a look at our starting lineup on all Newman Haas Landingen front row, and these starting lineups this year have really been jumbled, and this week is no exception.
It has definitely been jumbled, and you know, Jack has a very good point. When you're doing the strategy here, you almost need to do a full-length strategy and a half-distance strategy. You can't solely do one. You have to kind of keep your eye on 2 different games and be sure you're not out of it if rain does come.
And like Bob said, we haven't seen any rain all day long. So in my mind, I'm not thinking rain. I absolutely understand the halfway strategy. So if it does rain, you got the race in the books. But when a yellow comes out on an oval, you'll see a lot of guys come in. I don't know what he said. He said you can do it on one stop to get to halfway. Depending on how yellows play out, it is an opportunity for guys to come in and change tires or make some adjustments to the car.
1 to go at the line. Our Mobil 1 track conditions, 87 degrees is the track temperature, and as we indicated earlier, the winds are gusting up to 35 miles an hour, and the showers are to our west, hopefully staying away.
And you look at that track temperature, that's as cool as we've seen it all weekend. But if you look at those black seams out on the racetrack, it's kind of got a little gooey rubber to it. And when the track does get up over 100 degrees, there are the seams. The guys really hate what that does to wiggle and move the car around. There you see those seams. I mean, so the cooler temperatures, that won't affect the handling and balance of the race car.
Elio Castroneves and Dario Franchitti will be starting at the rear of the field. We'll certainly keep an eye on those two. And E.J. Viso, you saw there in the starting lineup, he is also, in fact, to the right of Elio there. He was put to the back of the pack for failing post-qualifying inspection. I love auto racing, but there is nothing like a high-speed oval track race, and that's what's about to unfold here on Versus. The Apex Brazil green flag is out. Here we go at Kansas.
Remember, on the outside of your screen, that red car there, that's Robert Dornbos, who did a great job in qualifying. But this is his very first oval, first turn one at 200+ miles an hour.
And look at that flag blowing right down the backstretch, 25 to 35 miles an hour. The battle is for second as Robert Dornbos is on the high side and loses second spot.
But for a guy doing his first couple of corners on an oval, just to let Scott Dixon go by and follow him, hey, that's good. That's a win for Dornbos.
Survival right now. We got a lot of racing left.
And Tony Kanaan is to the high side of Danica Patrick, unable to make the pass right now. You'll see some sparks from the bottom side of some of the cars. They're heavy with fuel.
But the reason you're also seeing sparks is when you want more downforce in windy conditions, they lower the cars. So they're hitting on some titanium skid blocks, and yes, they're heavy on fuel, but if you see a lot of sparks, it means they've lowered them to get more grip.
And historically, anytime you saw a car really bottom out like that, that looks like that's really harsh, that's bringing on that sparks. We're looking outboard of Weldon, looking over at Eddie Carpenter right there, side-by-side action. But those guys, when you see those sparks, they really aren't hitting that hard because of the titanium, Jan.
And you hear occasionally, and there was a grabbing of a gear with the paddle shifting on a super windy day. You're getting a push down the back straightaway. You're going to have to grab gears, and as you pick up a toe, you'll see a lot of shifting inside these cars with the paddle shifts. It's going to be a busy day. You're adjusting things in the car. It's going to be crazy with these conditions.
Battle set for 7th is continuing. The National Guard car driven by Dan Weldon is at the moment ahead of Ed Carpenter. And back in the field, we see Dario and Elio moving up through the traffic. Elio is on the high side of Justin Wilson.
And there was a downshift. That's when you get in and you get high and you're starting to lose speed. You grab a lower gear to make sure you keep it in the rev band.
And where that was is right as he was tracking out of turn 2. As soon as you come off, excuse me, not turn 2, turn 4, you're right into the headwind and you drop a gear.
Whoa, it's three wide.
Wow. TK had a notion to go up top of Danica Patrick and thought better of Mario Moraes is on the bottom side.
Well, one of the spotters told me, rule number 1, don't take out your teammates. This is when I call, I say, teammate outside, teammate outside.
and we were talking about timing your pass, setting yourself up. We saw TK had a run. He went to make it 3 wide, but then he had to dump the throttle, and he lost about 10 car lengths. Now he has to regain that momentum back up.
This is the battle for 4th. Moraes and Patrick on board with Tony Kanaan on the right side of your screen.
That was a double move. That was the case where first Tony Kanaan was looking at Danica Patrick, then she made the quick whip to the outside of Mario Moraes, who, by the way, is only doing his 11th oval race ever, running up in 5th right now. That's a nice run.
Graham Rahal has the advantage on Scott Dixon. This is the first time that Graham Rahal has led since he won at St. Petersburg last year in his very first IndyCar Series start. EJ Viso is also moving up. He is up to 16th. Dario is 17th, and Elio is 18th.
And we heard from EJ when he talked to Jack right before the race there. He said, I have nothing to lose. I'm gonna go for it.
That's what you have to say. That's what you have to say. But there has to be some discretion here. This is crazy today with these kind of conditions.
Whoa, and Scott Dixon takes the lead from Graham Rahal.
Now, interestingly enough, I talked to Scott. They were looking back off of Scott, looking right at Graham. You know, everything looks pretty calm there. But this morning, when I talked to Scott after the warm-up, he was out on Franchitti's setup. He said, man, I was having to work in that cockpit. I was pretty nervous. So I don't know if he went back to his setup or not, or he kept what it was. He said, if I'm running fast and I got to hang on to it, I can live with that as long as I'm fast.
And how about Robert Dornbos? He's hanging right in there in 3rd position. The traffic getting settled out just a little bit, but a good run for Robert.
This is perfect conditions for a guy getting used to oval. If you're back there in 10th or 12th place, Robbie, there's all kinds of turbulence. The car's jumping all over the place. But now you're following one of the best or 2 of the best and getting a feel for it.
Let's go back and take a look at how Scott Dixon grabbed the lead from Graham Rahal out of turn number 4.
You can see him carrying the momentum, just pulling alongside there. Nice and clean, right at the start-finish line.
A bit of Graham getting high and losing some speed, and Dixon taking advantage.
And so Scott Dixon has stretched his lead by just a little more than a half-second over Graham Rahal, with Dornbos running third, Patrick fourth, and Marias fifth. Stay with us for more on Versus Nonstop.
Hit this lap. 3, 2,
Get your heart ready. A new energy is going to jolt you. The unique energy of Brazilian products and services.
Set your fuel. Set your fuel. Watch me.
Go to experienceourenergy.com and discover Brazilian products.
I've driven a lot of different cars, but two things never change. No one demands more from their car than me, and nothing protects under the hood better than Peak.
Peak Long Life Antifreeze is formulated with an advanced organic technology to protect any engine of any make, any model, any time. If you can drive it, Peak can protect it.
And when I drive it, it better perform.
Peak Long Life Antifreeze.
When you peak, you win.
In every sport where there is potential for direct impact to the head, athletes are required to wear helmets to protect against injury. Mike White's helmet? Sports are tougher on Versus.
You saw it on our Versus Nonstop, an